Ji Chanda.
Assalamu alaikum, Honorable Prime Minister. It's very heartening to hear you coming over here, the Premier of the country, and saying and encouraging us that LUM students, we seek knowledge, we seek originality. It's very heartening, but then I hearken back to earlier times. A few months ago, right at the start of your tenureship, when you talked about the social contract, you talked about the Pakistan social contract with its citizens. It should only have a primary purpose. That is to ensure law and order. And I believe that goes against the very statement you gave right now about encouraging originality and seeking knowledge and giving an enabling environment. I believe in order to give an enabling environment to the youth of this nation, there has to be two things: freedom of expression and freedom from discrimination. I believe we here, LUM students, people of a very privileged class, both in terms of socio-economic class and religious caste as well, we aren't at the same level, and we don't, and the level freedom of expression we have cannot ever compare to the youth out in South Punjab, out in Karachi, those Afghan refugees. They can never compare to us. So how do you feel that a social contract that is based on law and order as a primary purpose can ever ensure those two things to make sure that the rest of our youth actually get a chance to have an enabling environment?
First of all, I understand your presumption of feeling privileged and at times even as a victim of that available privilege. This is a kind of a syndrome many individuals go through, and they feel that we are at an advantageous situation from the rest of our compatriots. So they are at a disadvantaged position, and they look at them as a victim card. My experience in life is a bit different. I've done my graduation as a private student from Balochistan University. I've done my BA as a private entity. I've been able to talk to Oxford Union and Harvard Forum of Pakistan. That same individual which you are referring to, I'm the product of that experiment. I have been raised in Quetta. I was born in Quetta. I was raised in Quetta. I attended a school till class 7th in Quetta. And then I went for a scholarship, a student to Karachi College cohort for 3 years, and then returned to Quetta. Okay? All my life, what I have done is that I've taken or I've been dependent on books. And I have encouraged myself that my thoughts are stimulated by the new concepts and ideas wherever they are published across the globe. First of all, whatever I was saying over there is not in contradiction over here. When you agree to sit in this space, in this hall, let me use it as a metaphor for the state or for the society, if it is more convenient. If these walls are the guarantors of state or society, then the social contract, or the hall contract, if you may call it, between these two entities has to translate in terms of rights and responsibilities both. We always think that we have got rights. I should have the freedom of expression. I should have the freedom of rights. I should have the freedom to abuse. I should have freedom for arson, and so on and so forth. In that social contract, the state also has certain rights. This little girl was talking about the Constitution. Beta, do you know Article 5 of the Constitution? I'm just asking, even if you don't know, it's okay. Yes or no? No. Everyone knows Article 6? Article 5 says that you have to have unconditional loyalty with the state. You cannot put a condition. For instance, if I can metaphor state with parents, you can't say, if my father provides me evening meal, I will accept him as a father. You can't condition that. You cannot condition your loyalty with the state while having the right of freedom of expression, though it should be ensured. Though it should be ensured. There has to be some rules and regulations which everyone has to follow. If you do not have that framework, you will lead towards chaos. And according to some of the historians, not according to me, it is better to have few centuries of tyranny rather than few weeks of anarchy. Anarchy is bad. Anarchy is worst. You don't have an idea of anarchy. I don't have an idea of anarchy because we have not experienced it. I'll just quote one of the anarchical experiment in the region is with the Yazidi woman in Iraq. This girl who was referring to multiple religious identity question. Yazidis are the religious minority in Iraq, and their women, once the state structure collapsed, everything was in anarchy. When they all had the freedom of expression to say whatever they want to, what would you say maximum in an anarchical situation? The Yazidi women were sold for $50 as a commodity. So then that is the kind of a situation you end in. Do we seek such an outcome for 240 million people? I'm sure all of decent human beings sitting over here are definitely not. When you raise questions, when you criticize political system, economic system, or any other system, there has to be a rule of engagement. And if you defy those rules, then there are certain laws to penalize that behavior. Bolo, mera beta, bol.
Sir, I certainly understand. Sir, I certainly understand that, for example, your position over here, that if a state gives rights to its citizens, then there should be some responsibilities. And I'm sure we all agree we don't want the outcome which you just described in Iraq or Iran, sorry. But I feel like all of us over here do not want the outcome that we're currently seeing in Pakistan. That is when the penalties...
That is?
When the penalties are not proportionate to the crime committed, even if calling that a crime is just going against rules and regulations.
Like, for instance, you're referring to 9th May?
And the outcomes of it.
Be open. Why are you hesitant? Nobody is stifling you here. Come on, let me.
And sir, the reason why I am not open and some of us may not be able to be open is
take the initiative. Let me be the open guy. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Look, probably 9th May is relatively not that big a fault or a challenge or a defiant political behavior. First of all, it is unprecedented. Secondly, we don't have a comparison in our lives. So that's why we take it pretty much cool that it's okay, it was just an anger of one day, so what if it has happened, and that there has to be a proportionate application to handle of law and force both. The settled democracy of Jeffersonian democracy of the United States of America, what happened in Capitol Hill on that day, a lad or a girl of your age went there and took a picture in the chair of Nancy Pelosi, who was the Speaker of the House at that day. And for taking that picture, she's been awarded probably 4 or 5 years of imprisonment, just on taking that picture where she occupied the official chair physically. I'm not talking about arson, I'm not talking about riots. And there are people who have been charged with 18 years of imprisonment. Why all our participants, and if they believe in, they should continue with it. If you want to have the right of violent agitation, then you should accept the lawful consequence of that behavior, isn't it? If I, God forbid, kill someone, I should know that there is a capital punishment as a consequence of my action. Well, there is a due process. There is a due process. I'm not engaging in that debate with you. I have got very strong reservations. When there was a law which does say that military courts can be conducted by, then this apex courts even thrashes out the law. You all are students of law over here. It is only function of the parliament to make laws. It is not the function of the superior judiciary to make law. Why do they make law? It could be a good law or a bad law, but it is the function of the parliament. When you enter into a marital contract, then you have got exclusive physical rights to each other. Third party cannot enter. So it is a third party entry if they do that. So I've got very strong views on that too. But let's agree to disagree, and this is the way we should talk. We should vent it out, we should think about it, we should talk about and think about even the alternate view. I might get something quite enlightening from your side, or otherwise you may get it from my side. But this is the kind of dialogue or conversation we should have. We cannot have monologues. What is happening in this society? There is one group who's supporting PMLN, there is a group which is supporting PTI, and then there are religious groups. And what actually they are doing, they are retreating whatever convictions they have. They are reinforcing that on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, in normal conversations. That's why when you raise question, you receive applause. What is the point of having applause for a question? Why? Do you understand or do you realize? Why should I be expecting applause for an answer? The question should be raised in the true spirit of inquiry. It should not be for appreciation. But there is, I understand, all of us, we have constituencies. So that constituency translates that support into the applause. That's what we are doing. That's where my point comes, that we will go for plagiarism. We will not be able to create knowledge. Criticize anything. You want to criticize military, you want to criticize judiciary, you want to criticize parliament, economy, politics. Just one single couplet of Iqbal again for guidance. Gila beja bhi kare koi to lazim hai shahur. Beja gila karo, doesn't matter. Lekin shahur ke saath.